Welcome back. Let's talk about articles of incorporation. I got my little guide here to make sure I don't miss anything. But basically, the articles of incorporation is a document filed with a U.S. state to form a corporation. And after you file it with any U.S. state, they issue you what they call the certificate of incorporation, which means you are now officially a corporation in a state of the United States of America. Um, that's after the approval. So most states have standard forms. If you go to most state websites and you look up how to start a corporation or LLC, there's different forms or different companies. They'll have forms there. But for your corporation status, as opposed to a limited liability company or a partnership, for your corporation status, you need to file the articles of incorporation, and then they give you the certificate of incorporation, which means you're now a legal company. In the articles, sometimes it's abbreviated, articles of incorporation, it states the name of the founders, the authorized shares, how many authorized shares you have in the corporation. You can pick this. This is a subjective number. You can say we have 1,000,000 authorized shares. We have 5,000,000. Some states, depending on the state, charge you by how many shares you authorized. Usually a nominal amount, meaning a very small amount. You have to give the identity of the directors. So who are the people that are the directors? The address, usually, and contact information of the directors. Usually you need an address for the process of service. So because when you're filing a corporation, it's creating a new legal entity, you will now be able to get a tax ID number, and it's like a person. It can be sued, it can sue, it can be represented like a person in court, in a U.S. court. So because of this, you need an address to have service of process in case the corporation or the directors of the company, the group of people running the company, do something wrong, somebody wants to sue them, they need to have an address for that service, what they call service of process. So it has the authorized share. I want to make sure I get this whole list for you guys. But the two documents together create your legal existence, and then it says the charter embodies information, the corporation's name. So you have to have the corporation's name. You have to have the purpose. So in this section, this is a requirement in most states. It says the purpose of the corporation. Some states have this blank because they assume that it's for any legal purpose. So legally, most corporations quote any legal purpose, end quote, is what they write on the articles of incorporation. This doesn't tie them. So in the legal sense, when you form articles of incorporation, your company is governed by these articles. It's basically a contract that you are signing with the state that creates this entity. So if the purpose says to buy and sell land, for example, and next week you go and you find a great deal on campers and you buy a camper through the company, well, now you violated your articles of incorporation. So what legal practitioners have done in this field is for any legal purpose, that's what they write on the document, and that's sufficient enough for the articles of incorporation in 50 states, I'm pretty sure. Okay, so the purpose, the amount of authorized shares, we talked about this, so you guys can issue as many shares as you want, and the number and the identity of the directors. So the name and the identity of the directors. Some articles of incorporation in certain states ask for more than this. But after this is filed, this dictates how the corporation will be run from the top up. So as far as your directors, as far as your authorized shares, as far as the purpose, and as far as the name of the corporation, those four things are dictated by the articles of organization. Now, that is not the same as the bylaws or your operating agreement. Meaning there's another document that gets formed by the directors once the company is formed. That's called the corporate bylaws and the articles of incorporation in the case of a limited liability company. And those documents can delineate further rules for the company. And this is where it really gets interesting in the bylaws. So we're going to talk to the bylaws next. Hopefully I'll have a link right here for the next video. And thanks for joining us. We'll talk again soon.